All right, so let's jump into this this stack of articles and YouTube transcripts.
Yeah.
You've really been digging deep into
Yeah.
the world of Turkish entrepreneurship
Yeah.
and how it intersects with venture capital,
Hmm.
AI,
Yeah.
and this global economic slowdown. Even some legal perspectives on space exploration. This is going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you're really trying to understand the unique um, challenges and opportunities facing Turkish
Yeah.
startups,
Right.
especially those aiming for global success.
Yeah.
So, what did you find? What kind of insights can we pull out from this stack of information?
Well, one of the things that really jumps out at me is this tension, right,
Yeah,
between achieving success in a large but volatile market like Turkey
right.
versus really aiming for global scale, where the competition is just is fierce.
Yeah. So
Mm.
how do they avoid getting trapped by those local limitations?
Yeah.
One of the YouTube videos features Cenk Bayrakdar, who's a prominent figure in the Turkish VC scene. So,
Hmm.
any insights there?
Definitely. So he leads Revo Capital, and what's interesting about their approach, or their strategy, I should say, is they've been pretty successful at attracting both domestic and international investment. And he talks about identifying promising startups early, even at the seed stage,
Mhm.
and then providing not just funding but also guidance and mentorship to help those startups grow.
So it's not just about the money.
Exactly. It's about nurturing those startups. And in fact, another venture capitalist you've been reading about, Ali Karabey, calls this international intelligence,
Okay.
which is the ability to kind of think globally from day one.
I like that. International intelligence. I'm gonna remember that one. But how does that actually play out? What does that actually look like?
Well, he compares the Turkish startup scene.
Right. Go to swampland, right? I guess
Yeah.
nutritious, but potentially stifling.
Oh, interesting.
So it's relatively easy to get going in Turkey,
Right.
but startups can become too comfortable and then risk being limited by the local market.
So they need that international intelligence to avoid getting stuck.
Hmm.
Is there an example, like a real world example of that?
A perfect example is Yemeksepeti. This
Okay.
was the food delivery platform.
Right.
They had massive local success,
Okay.
but they were ultimately acquired by Delivery Hero, which is a global competitor.
Interesting. So they became so big locally
Yeah.
that they became a target. Is that the
Right.
lesson there?
Yes, and potentially, if they had focused on international expansion
Right.
earlier on, they may have been the ones acquiring other companies.
Hmm.
Bayraktar, on the other hand, talks about building relationships
Hmm.
with international investors and partners.
From the beginning.
And
Yeah.
how does that factor into Revo's strategy?
Well, I think this is where Revo Capital really shines.
Okay.
They leverage co-investment models, partnering with organizations like the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and the European Investment Fund.
I see. So these partnerships kind of open doors to global markets.
Precisely.
Right.
They provide not only capital but also access to uh, networks, expertise, and just market knowledge that's invaluable when scaling internationally.
Bayraktar seemed particularly bullish on fintech.
Yeah, yeah.
He even predicts that Turkey's first fintech unicorn will emerge relatively soon.
Yeah, it's a bold prediction, but the data does seem to support it.
Yeah.
Fintech investment in Turkey has been booming. Companies like Perem, which
Yeah.
is a Revo portfolio company,
Yeah.
are showing really, really impressive growth.
I mean, Revo's success in attracting follow-on investments for its portfolio companies is pretty remarkable.
It is. Bayraktar mentions that their initial investments,
Right.
which totaled around $100 million, have led to over $2.2 billion
Right.
in subsequent funding.
Wow, that's a huge
Yeah.
multiplier effect.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the potential of these Turkish startups to attract global capital.
It does, and it highlights the role that venture capitalists like Revo play in not just identifying promising startups, but
Right.
actually actively helping them to attract investment and scale their businesses.
But of course, it's not all smooth sailing. These sources also point to the challenges of a
Yeah.
global economic slowdown.
Absolutely. And Bayraktar is actually very upfront about this. He acknowledges that fundraising has become more difficult
Right.
and predicts that some venture capital funds, especially those established in the last 5 years or so, right,
Will struggle.
he even suggested that Revo is feeling the pressure too.
Yeah, he's actually quite open about the difficulties, but he also points to a potential silver lining in all of this.
Okay.
He suggests that Turkish entrepreneurs might actually be uniquely equipped to navigate these turbulent times.
Hold on. How is operating in an unstable economy an advantage?
Well, he calls it being forged in the fire.
Okay.
So this history of economic volatility could actually give them an edge in adapting to shifting market conditions and making those tough decisions under pressure.
So their experience dealing with uncertainty becomes a strength.
Exactly. It forces them to be resourceful, resilient,
Right.
and just constantly adaptable.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this trial by fire, as he calls it, could be a benefit. Another YouTube video you included a conversation
With Sanat Kemaz and Irma Erkman,
Yeah.
where they interview Ali Karabey,
Okay.
such as on this Resilience too.
Yeah.
So
And Karabey links that resilience directly to his concept of international intelligence.
okay,
He argues that Turkish entrepreneurs need that global mindset.
right.
From the start, not just to access larger markets,
Right.
but also to navigate those economic storms.
They also talked about building diverse teams with complementary skills, right?
Yes, and they make the point that no single founder can have all the expertise needed to scale a global business.
And that's where Karabey's background in investment banking comes in.
Right. He emphasizes the need for financial discipline, rigorous analysis, and a deep understanding of risk management. He even draws a parallel between managing other people's money as an investment banker and then managing a VC fund.
Interesting connection. So it's about being accountable to investors.
Yeah.
Especially in a tough economy.
Right. Delivering returns is key, but both Karabey and Bayraktar stress that it's not just about financial returns; it's about building a lasting legacy and contributing to the Turkish startup ecosystem.
There's a real sense of mission there.
Yeah,
A belief that they're building something bigger than themselves.
absolutely.
And they do acknowledge the challenges like cultural barriers that can make it hard to embrace failure as a learning experience.
Yeah.
In Turkey, there's a traditional emphasis on saving face.
Right.
That's a fascinating point. So does that mean failure is seen differently in Turkey compared to other startup ecosystems?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a different cultural context. And this fear of failure can prevent entrepreneurs from taking those risks and experimenting. Which can stifle innovation. In fact, you even included a Swipeline podcast episode that talks about this exact issue.
Oh, right. I remember that. They discussed the prevalence of zombie startups in Turkey.
Yes.
Companies that are essentially stuck, neither growing nor shutting down.
Exactly. And they suggest that this zombie phenomenon is partly driven by a reluctance to kind of admit defeat.
Right.
Right? And just move on. Because sometimes the best decision really is to close a business and move on.
Yeah. It is hard to let go.
Yeah.
But I can see how clinging to a failing venture can actually harm the ecosystem as a whole. Does the podcast offer any insights on how to change this?
Well, they argue that that embracing failure, both at the individual and an ecosystem level, is essential for long-term growth and innovation.
I'm curious to hear more about this. So, what are some of the specific challenges they highlight with accurately assessing success in a culture where appearance is often matter more than reality.
Well, they talk about a tendency to kind of inflate accomplishments and then downplay failures, which can distort the perception of the startup landscape.
Right. So it's hard to get a clear picture of what's really happening.
Back. It makes it difficult for investors to really identify truly promising ventures, and for entrepreneurs to learn from each other's mistakes.
So how do you cut through that? How do you get a clearer picture of what's really happening?
Yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it? But the Swikeline hosts suggest that promoting transparency and open dialogue about failure is a good place to start. This will encourage those honest conversations about the challenges and help avoid perpetuating this culture of hype.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. They also they make a fascinating observation about how this cultural tendency to inflate achievements impacts the way people perceive VC funding announcements.
Yeah. They point out that announcements often focus on the valuation rather than the actual ownership stake acquired by the VC fund.
So a company might boast about raising a large sum of money without disclosing that the VC now owns a significant portion of the business.
Exactly. And this lack of transparency can create a misleading impression of a startup success, making it difficult to kind of compare valuations across different funding rounds.
So it's not just about financial transparency. It's about creating a culture of honesty and accountability that fosters trust and collaboration. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Without that foundation of trust, it's incredibly difficult to build a truly thriving startup ecosystem.
The swipe line conversation also touches on the role of media in the VC world, especially highlighting Harry Stebbings and his company 20VC.
Yeah, Stebbings is a fascinating case study.
Yeah.
He built a massive audience through his podcast, The 20-Minute VC,
right,
and then leveraged that platform to launch a successful venture capital fund.
That's incredibly savvy, right? Using media to build relationships, generate deal flow, attract both investors and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and it kind of blurs the lines between traditional investing, content creation, and community building.
Right.
Which is raising some interesting questions about the evolving role of VC.
Now, Karabey does acknowledge the importance of content creation and networking, but he stresses that these activities should ultimately serve the core mission of investing in and supporting promising startups.
Right.
And he cautions against getting caught up in the hype.
Yeah, maintaining focus on the fundamentals is key. It seems like there's a fine line between leveraging media and staying focused on the core business of venture capital.
Absolutely. A challenge many VCs face as the industry evolves. But speaking of challenges, these sources also paint a complex picture of the legal and regulatory landscape for Turkish startups.
Right, especially those in emerging fields like AI and space exploration.
Right.
And that's where the YouTube video featuring lawyer Cenk comes in.
Right. She dives into the lawsuit between Elon Musk and OpenAI, which highlights the complexities around AI development and intellectual property rights.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case that really illustrates the challenges of balancing open source principles with the need to protect intellectual property.
Shizmechi also talks about the EU's AI Act.
Right.
So what stood out to you about that?
Well, it's a landmark piece of legislation that aims to regulate AI systems based on their risk level. So, think of it as ranging from low-risk applications like spam filters to high-risk systems used in critical infrastructure.
Right.
However, Shizmechi does express some skepticism about the practicality of implementing such a complex framework, given the challenges of defining and assessing risk in such a rapidly evolving field.
That makes sense. The AI landscape is constantly changing. So how can regulations possibly keep pace with without stifling creativity and progress.
It's a valid concern. It's a tough balancing act that requires ongoing dialogue and collaboration between policymakers, industry experts, and researchers.
Right.
And this tension between regulation and innovation isn't just limited to AI.
Yeah.
Chismechi also delves into the legal complexities of space exploration.
Okay.
And she points out that, existing international treaties, like the Outer Space Treaty, while well-intentioned, are often vague and difficult to enforce, especially with the rapid advancement of technologies and the growing commercialization of space.
She used a humorous example at this point.
You did.
What's the example? I love a good analogy.
Yeah, so she talks about the lack of clear legal frameworks for activities like space mining,
right,
or even owning a cow on the morn.
Okay, that's a funny way to put it.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, the need for clear legal frameworks for space activities is a pressing issue.
Definitely. And she suggests that the U.S. is taking a more proactive approach, at least with the space mining, by establishing regulations that require companies to disclose their activities and intentions.
So transparency is key, especially when dealing with uncharted territory.
Absolutely. This transparency-focused approach could be a model for other areas of space exploration, helping to prevent conflicts and ensure responsible development.
So what does all of this mean for Turkish startups, especially those aiming to operate in these emerging fields?
Well, they'll need to navigate not only the technological complexities, but also the evolving legal and regulatory landscape, both domestically and internationally.
And I imagine that requires seeking expert legal counsel early on.
It's crucial, especially for startups venturing into these uncharted territories.
Yeah.
They need a clear understanding of the legal risks and opportunities to ensure compliance and responsible innovation.
This all ties back to that international intelligence concept, doesn't it? It seems like Turkish entrepreneurs need to be thinking globally about all aspects of their businesses, from funding to regulation.
Absolutely. They need to understand, global best practices and adapt them to the Turkish context.
It's definitely a complex picture, but one that's full of potential.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground already, from funding strategies to the legal Wild West of space.
Yeah.
But I want to come back to something you said earlier. About the human side of things.
Right.
We've talked a lot about the financial and legal aspects, but building a successcial startup is about so much more than that.
Right.
And it seems like this human element is a recurring theme in these sources.
It is.
So the YouTube video with Sanat Kaymaz and Ömer Erkman interviewing Ali Karabey really dives into this. They discuss the importance of building strong teams, attracting and retaining top talent.
Yeah, especially in a competitive global market.
Right. So what does Karabey suggest for navigating this?
Well, he emphasizes the importance of offering not just competitive salaries, but also a compelling vision and a culture that empowers employees to grow and contribute.
So it's about purpose as much as it is about compensation.
Right. He also talks about the need for a supportive ecosystem that provides mentorship, resources, and access to networks.
Like organizations like a lot of business angels.
Yeah.
Karabey co-founded that organization, right?
Yes, he did. And then they provide early stage funding and guidance, helping startups overcome those initial hurdles.
So it's about having a support system in place.
Exactly. And Karabey also brings up building relationships with international investors and partners.
Right, which is VC fund 212 has been successful at. Right, he leveraged their international network to attract co-investment from global players.
That's right. Bringing in not just capital but also expertise. Access to markets and potential exit opportunities.
It's clearly building a successful startup ecosystem requires that collaboration and support from all stakeholders. Karabey's a big advocate for that pay-it-forward mentality. Successful entrepreneurs reinvesting their gains and mentoring the next generation. Creating a virtuous cycle of success and innovation. Something really inspiring about that, this vision of patience, persistence, and a belief in the potential of Turkish entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, and they're thinking long term, envisioning a self-sustaining ecosystem.
So it's more than just building businesses. It's about building a movement.
Exactly, and it's not all about numbers and metrics either. That same YouTube video with Karabey delves into the kind of more philosophical side of entrepreneurship.
Oh, interesting. What does he say about that?
Well, he challenges the traditional definition of success, moving beyond just financial gain and market dominance. He believes true success lies in creating something meaningful that solves a real problem and makes a positive impact on the world.
It's purpose-driven entrepreneurship,
right?
Building companies that are aligned with personal values and contributing to a better future.
Exactly, and this aligns with the growing global trend of impact investing, where the goal is both financial returns and positive social or environmental outcomes.
Right. I've heard about that. It's about doing well by doing good.
Exactly, and Karabey even hints at plans to launch an impact-focused fund soon.
That's exciting. It really speaks to the changing priorities of investors and entrepreneurs who are looking beyond pure profit to create a more sustainable and equitable world.
Absolutely, it's just a move toward a more conscious form of capitalism, one that balances profit with purpose.
I love that. It seems like the future of entrepreneurship is less about chasing unicorns and more about building a better future for all.
It's definitely a vision worth striving for.
But it's not all about lofty ideals. We still need to talk about the practical matter of attracting and managing capital.
Right.
So what do our sources say about that?
Well, Bayrakdar in his interview is quite realistic about the challenges of fundraising in a volatile market. He stresses the importance of strong investor relationships, a demonstrable track record of success, and a clearly articulated investment thesis.
So investors are looking for more than just a good idea. They want to see a plan and evidence that it can work.
Absolutely. And Bayrakdar also emphasizes the need for transparency and accountability. Providing investors with clear and timely information about the fund's performance.
That makes sense. Building trust is essential, especially in a volatile market.
Right. Trust is key to attracting repeat investment.
The Swipeline podcast also delves into the dynamics of venture capital. They discuss the importance of due diligence, portfolio management, and exit strategies.
They highlight the challenges of assessing risk. Host speaker of assessing risk, balancing diversification with concentrated bets, and navigating mergers and acquisitions.
Sounds like a complex balancing act.
And they also discuss the need for alignment between founders and investors.
What what do you mean by alignment?
So, structuring deals that reward long-term value creation.
Okay.
And ensuring everyone's on the same page
Right.
regarding the company's growth strategy and an exit plan.
So shared goals and a clear vision for the future are crucial.
Absolutely. And again, it all boils down to relationships, trust,
Right.
and shared vision. It's not just about the money, but
Right.
about the human element.
It's about building a community, a network
Yeah.
of individuals who believe in each other,
Yeah.
and want to see each other succeed.
Right, and this brings us back to international intelligence, right?
Yeah.
It's not just understanding different markets and cultures,
Right.
but building relationships with the people from diverse backgrounds and perspectives.
And this cross-cultural exchange of ideas and experiences can be a powerful driver of innovation.
Yeah. It helps entrepreneurs identify new opportunities, develop innovative solutions, and then scale their businesses for a global audience.
So it's really about building a more interconnected and inclusive world.
Yeah, and it aligns with the growing trend of globalization and the increasing recognition of our shared humanity.
I like that. We're all part of a global ecosystem.
Yeah.
And our success is interconnected. So this deep dive has really highlighted how local factors like economic volatility and cultural norms intersect with global trends like technological innovation and evolving regulations.
It's a complex and dynamic environment, but one that's ripe with potential for those willing to embrace the challenges and seize the opportunities.
This has been a fantastic overview, but I want to zoom in on something that piqued my interest, the legal and regulatory landscape. Let's hear more about Cisek Shemeshi's expertise on that.
All right. So she provides a really interesting analysis of the evolving regulatory framework for AI in Turkey.
What are some of the key things she highlights?
Well, she talks about the government's efforts to promote AI development while also addressing ethical implications and potential risks.
So trying to find that balance between innovation and responsibility.
Exactly. She discusses the National Artificial Intelligence Strategy, which outlines Turkey's vision for becoming a global leader in AI research, development, and application.
So they're really leaning into AI.
Yeah. The strategy focuses on investing in AI talent, fostering collaboration between academia and industry, and creating a supportive regulatory environment.
But as with any emerging technology, I imagine there are also challenges in implementing this strategy.
Yes, and Shizmeshi points to the need for clear ethical guidelines, robust data, privacy protections, and mechanisms for addressing potential biases and discrimination.
Those are all incredibly important considerations. Yeah.
She also raises concerns about AI's potential impact on employment. Right. So, we need to be thinking about retraining programs to prepare the workforce for the future of work.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
These are massive shifts.
Yeah.
And we need to ensure people aren't left behind.
Absolutely. The potential benefits of AI are enormous, but we need to make sure those benefits are shared widely and that the technology is used ethically and responsibly.
This conversation about the ethical implications of AI is so important. We need to be proactive and thoughtful about ensuring that AI is used to create a more equitable and sustainable world. We don't want to exacerbate existing inequalities or create new ones.
I completely agree. And it's not just AI. It's about any new technological innovation.
Right.
We need to be mindful of the potential consequences and make sure technology enhances human well-being, not diminishes it.
It seems like a lot of responsibility rests on the shoulders of those developing and implementing these technologies.
It does, and it ties back to that theme of responsible innovation, using our creativity and ingenuity to create a better future for everyone.
That's a theme that really resonates throughout these sources, right? It's not just about Turkish startups. It's a global shift towards a more conscious approach to innovation.
I agree.
Yeah.
And a lot of Turkish entrepreneurs and investors seem to be embracing this, focusing not just on building successful businesses, but also on building a better society, one that's more innovative, inclusive, and sustainable.
It's pretty inspiring to see.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that entrepreneurship can be about more than just profits.
Right.
So let's bring it back down to the practicalities of building and scaling a business.
Yeah.
So what do our sources say about that?
Well, the Swipeline podcast touches on the importance of hiring the right people, building a strong culture, and developing efficient processes.
So the operational side of things. What are some of their key takeaways there?
Well, they emphasize data-driven decision making, constantly measuring and improving performance. And they also stress the importance of customer focus, truly understanding and meeting the needs of your target market.
This seems even more crucial for startups competing on a global stage where customer expectations are higher.
Absolutely. The competition is fierce.
Now, in his interview, Karabey talks about building a lean and mean organization. So what's his take on operational excellence?
Well, he stresses the importance of being agile, adapting quickly to changing market conditions and making decisions with speed and decisiveness.
So being nimble and responsive, especially in a volatile environment.
Exactly. It's a crucial skill for survival in the startup world.
And these sources also highlight the role technology plays in achieving operational excellence.
Yeah, they emphasize the transformative power of AI, data analytics, and cloud computing.
How are these technologies being used by startups?
Well, they're enabling startups to automate tasks, gain insights from data, and scale their operations more rapidly and cost-effectively.
Wow, it sounds like these technologies are leveling the playing field and empowering startups to compete with much larger, more established companies.
Absolutely.
But it's not just about adopting the latest shiny new tech.
Right. It's about strategic implementation to solve real problems and create value for customers.
Which requires a deep understanding of the technology, its capabilities and limitations, right?
Yeah. You also need a clear vision of how the technology is going to help achieve your business objectives. Technology is just a tool. It's the human element that ultimately drives innovation and creates lasting impact.
This deep dive has really showcased the multifaceted nature of entrepreneurship. We've seen the financial, legal, cultural, technological, and human dimensions all intertwined.
It's a reminder that building a successful startup ecosystem requires a holistic approach.
So it's a complex and challenging undertaking.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's about creating a better future. A vision that Turkish entrepreneurs are increasingly leading the way on.
They are.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time to be part of this ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I'm eager to see what the future holds.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to hear more about those macroeconomic factors you mentioned, what are some of the things shaping the Turkish startup ecosystem from a broader perspective?
Right. It's important to consider the wider context, and one of the key things highlighted in the sources is the Turkish government's active role in promoting innovation.
We've already talked about the National Artificial Intelligence strategy.
Yeah.
So what are some other initiatives they're undertaking?
Well, there's the National Technology Move, which aims to boost Turkey's tech competitiveness on a global scale.
National Technology Move. What does that entail?
Well, it's a multi-pronged approach. They're promoting STEM education, supporting research and development, and trying to attract international tech companies to set up operations in Turkey.
So they're creating an environment that's attractive to both homegrown and foreign tech companies.
Exactly. And they're also making interesting regulatory moves. For example, there's increased collaboration between the Personal Data Protection Authority and the Consumer Protection Authority.
Okay, so what's the significance of that?
Well, they're joining forces to tackle what they call dark commercial design practices in digital advertising.
Dark commercial design.
Sure.
What exactly does that mean?
Well, it's essentially about protecting consumers from manipulative online marketing tactics that exploit their personal data. They're trying to ensure that businesses are using data responsibly and ethically.
That makes sense. It seems like Turkey is trying to find that sweet spot between encouraging innovation and protecting consumers.
They are, and this balancing act is especially tricky in areas like AI, where the technology is advancing so rapidly.
Right. So Cenk even mentions the EU's Artificial Intelligence Act as a potential model for Turkey, right?
She does. So. And it'll be interesting to see how Turkey adapts that framework to its own context. The AI Act categorizes AI systems based on risk levels and imposes stricter regulations on high-risk applications, such as those used in healthcare or law enforcement.
So tailoring those regulations to fit the specific needs and context of the Turkish market. But as Cismeshi points out, it's incredibly challenging to define those risk categories and keep pace with AI's rapid evolution.
It is. It requires constant dialogue and collaboration between regulators, industry, and researchers to ensure regulations are effective without stifling innovation.
It's another one of those tricky balancing acts, and this tension between regulation and entrepreneurial freedom is a recurring theme in these sources, right?
It is. Too much regulation can create barriers to entry and stifle creativity.
Right.
But too little regulation can lead to irresponsible behavior that harms consumers or society as a whole.
Right. So it's about finding that right level of oversight, and this tension is particularly evident in the discussions about zombie companies, right?
Yeah.
Remember that IMF report labeling Turkey as having the highest number of zombie companies globally?
Yeah. It's a pretty startling statistic, and it speaks to a broader issue of companies prioritizing survival over embracing failure and moving on to new ventures.
Yeah, the Swipe Line hosts argue that this zombie phenomenon can actually be detrimental to the overall health of the startup ecosystem, right?
Yeah, they suggest that it ties up resources that could be better used elsewhere and creates a culture of stagnation rather than innovation.
So it's almost like it's holding the entire ecosystem back from reaching its full potential.
Yeah.
It seems like there needs to be a cultural shift, a greater acceptance of failure as a natural part of the entrepreneurial process.
Absolutely. As Ali Karabey puts it, sometimes the Dave decision is to shut down a failing venture and apply the lessons learned to a new one.
So he's advocating for a more dynamic and fluid ecosystem where failure is seen as a learning opportunity rather than a mark of shame. Yeah. This reminds me of his idea of international intelligence.
Yeah.
Right. Learning from other ecosystems and applying those lessons to the Turkish context.
Yeah. He stresses that Turkish entrepreneurs need to be more open to learning from places like Silicon Valley or Tel Aviv to see how other cultures approach risk and failure.
It's about expanding your horizons and seeing what works elsewhere.
Yeah. And he also emphasizes the importance of building diverse teams with international experience.
So bringing in people who can offer fresh perspectives and challenge the status quo.
Exactly. This diversity of thought can be crucial for driving innovation, especially in a rapidly changing world.
So it's not about blindly copying other models,
right?
But it's about understanding what works best in other ecosystems and adapting those lessons to create a uniquely Turkish approach to entrepreneurship.
Exactly. It's about being selective, strategic, and learning from the best to forge a path that's right for Turkey.
And this emphasis on learning and adaptation also comes up in the discussions about venture capital, right?
Yeah.
So both Cenk Bayrakdar and Ali Karabey stress the need for Turkish VCs to become more sophisticated, to adopt best practices from global investors.
Yeah.
So how do they suggest going about this?
Well, Bayrakdar talks about Revo's co-investment model where they partner with international investors like EBRD and EIF.
Right. We talked about that earlier. Right. Bringing in not just capital but also exposure to best practices from experienced global investors.
Exactly. And Karabey emphasizes mentorship and knowledge transfer, connecting Turkish entrepreneurs with experienced investors and advisors who can guide them.
So that's where the international intelligence comes into play again, right? Tapping into a global network of expertise and applying that knowledge to the Turkish context.
Yeah. It's about recognizing that you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
You know, you can learn from the experiences of others who've been there before.
It seems like there's a real hunger for knowledge within the Turkish startup ecosystem. Recognition that they need to constantly learn and adapt to succeed in a globalized world.
Absolutely, and that hunger for knowledge is a positive sign. It suggests a willingness to embrace new ideas, challenge the status quo, and constantly evolve. Yeah, it really is. They're willing to learn from others, right, and adapt.
It really speaks to a healthy ecosystem, that willingness to adapt and learn. And speaking of things that are constantly evolving, one of the most striking themes in these sources is the transformative potential of technology, especially AI.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how Turkish entrepreneurs and investors are embracing AI and exploring its applications across such a wide range of industries.
Right. Bayrakdar talked about Revo Capital's investment in Massive Bio, a company using AI to match patients with clinical trials for cancer treatments.
Yeah, that's a great example of using AI to address real-world problems and make a tangible difference in people's lives. And it's not just healthcare. You know, we're seeing AI being applied
in fintech, logistics, even agriculture.
It's really changing the game across the board.
Yeah.
But as with any powerful technology, there are those concerns about potential risks and the ethical implications.
Yeah, it's great to see that those concerns are being actively addressed in Turkey.
Right.
Cenk Bayrakdar talks about establishing ethical guidelines and regulations to ensure responsible AI development and use.
So it's not just about the technology itself,
Yeah.
but how it's being implemented and governed.
Right. And she also raises an interesting point about the potential impact of AI on employment. We need to be thinking about retraining programs to prepare the workforce for the future of work.
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
These are massive shifts.
Yeah.
And we need to ensure people aren't left behind. Yeah, the potential benefits of AI are enormous.
Right.
But we need to make sure those benefits are shared widely and that the technology is used ethically and responsibly.
This conversation about the ethical implications of AI is so important. We need to be proactive and thoughtful about ensuring that AI is used to create a more equitable and sustainable world. We don't want to exacerbate existing inequalities or create new ones.
I completely agree.
Right.
And it's not just AI. It's about any new technological innovation.
Yeah.
We need to be mindful of the potential consequences and make sure technology enhances human well-being, not diminishes it.
It seems like a lot of responsibility rests on the shoulders of those developing and implementing these technologies.
Yeah, it does, and it ties back to that theme of responsible innovation, using our creativity and ingenuity to create a better future for everyone.
That's a theme that really resonates throughout these sources.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just about Turkish startups. It's a global shift towards a more conscious approach to innovation.
I agree, and a lot of Turkish entrepreneurs and investors seem to be embracing this, focusing not just on building successful businesses, but also on building a better society, one that's more innovative, inclusive, and sustainable.
It's pretty inspiring to see,
It is.
And it's a good reminder that that entrepreneurship can be about more than just profits.
Right.
And that brings us back to the practical side of things, that financial engine driving all of this. Venture capital and private equity.
Yes, the insights from Cenk Bayrakdar and Ali Karabey are particularly valuable here. They offer a firsthand perspective on the challenges and opportunities of investing in Turkish startups.
So, what are some of the key things that stand out to you from their perspectives?
Well, Bayrakdar talks about the importance of identifying promising companies early on, even at the seed stage.
Okay.
And he stresses that it's not just about providing funding; it's about offering guidance and mentorship too.
So it's about nurturing those startups and helping them grow.
Exactly. He advocates for a long-term perspective, being patient and supportive as companies navigate the inevitable ups and downs of building a business.
It's about more than just a quick return on an investment.
It is. And he also talks about the importance of building a strong relationship with the founders, creating a partnership where everyone is aligned on the vision and goals.
It's a collaborative approach where both the investor and the entrepreneur are working together towards a shared vision.
Exactly. And Karabey also emphasizes this idea of adding value beyond just capital.
What does he mean by that?
Well, he talks about leveraging his network and experience to connect Turkish startups with international investors and partners, opening doors that they might not otherwise have access to.
So it's about sharing connections and expertise to help those startups reach their full potential.
Exactly. And he also, like Bayrakdar, highlights the need for financial discipline, carefully managing resources and ensuring the company is built on a solid foundation.
It's about being smart and responsible with that investment.
Yeah, but it's not just about the money. It's also about the relationships, the trust, and the shared vision.
Right. We keep coming back to that human element.
Yeah.
And you can see this in the growing number of venture capital funds, angel investor networks, incubators, and accelerators emerging in Turkey.
It's a sign of a thriving ecosystem, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
These organizations play a crucial role in nurturing the next generation of entrepreneurs, providing them with resources, mentorship, and connections.
Yeah.
And they also help to attract international attention to the Turkish startup ecosystem, showcasing the talent and innovation that's taking root here.
They do. And what's exciting to see is how this landscape is evolving in Turkey. It's becoming more sophisticated, more connected, and more focused on creating a lasting impact.
It feels like there's a real sense of momentum building.
There is. Yeah, it's a sign that the Turkish startup ecosystem is maturing, moving beyond just hype to a more sustainable and impactful future.
And a big part of that future depends on building strong teams.
Yes. And Ali Karabey, drawing on his experience as a founder and investor, emphasizes that this is just as important as having a great idea.
So what are his thoughts on building a successful team?
Well, he stresses the need for complementary skills, bringing together individuals with diverse perspectives and expertise.
So it's about building a team where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. And he talks about the importance of creating a positive work culture where people feel valued, respected, and empowered to contribute their best.
So it's not just about skills and experience. It's about creating an environment where people can thrive.
Absolutely. And the Swipe Line podcast echoes these ideas. They talk about the importance of trust and psychological safety within a team.
What does psychological safety mean in a startup context?
It means creating an environment where people feel comfortable being vulnerable, sharing their ideas freely, and taking risks without the fear of judgment or negative repercussions.
That sounds like an ideal environment for fostering creativity and innovation.
It is, and it ultimately leads to better results because you're able to tap into the collective intelligence of the team.
They also talk about clear communication, right?
Yes, setting clear expectations, providing regular feedback, and making sure everyone is on the same page,
right,
and working towards those shared goals.
So it's about open communication and transparency to keep everything running smoothly.
Exactly, and this all circles back to the human element of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
The relationships, the trust, the collaboration. These are essential ingredients for success.
Building a successful company is a team effort. It's that simple.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that it's not just about the founder's vision. It's about harnessing the collective talent and dedication of the entire team.
And that requires strong leadership to bring all those pieces together.
Absolutely.
So now let's talk about something that's not often discussed openly, but is a crucial part of the startup journey exit strategies.
Yes. It's an important topic. The Swipe Line podcast dives into this, discussing the various ways startups can exit from acquisitions by larger companies to initial public offerings.
So they're talking about the different end games for a startup.
Yeah, and they emphasize the importance of having a clear exit strategy from the beginning, understanding the different options and what investors and acquirers are looking for.
So you need to have a plan, but you also need to be flexible and adaptable.
Right, exactly. The exit strategy might need to evolve as market conditions change or as the company itself evolves.
Right. They also touch on valuation, right? Understanding how companies are valued and what drives those valuations.
Yes, it's crucial for both entrepreneurs and investors. It determines how much equity is exchanged for capital and ultimately the return on investment
It seems like a complicated calculation.
Yeah.
What are some of the factors that go into determining a company's valuation?
It's definitely not an exact science. Valuation is influenced by a lot of factors like market conditions, industry trends, and the company's growth potential.
So it's about assessing the current landscape,
Yeah.
and also trying to predict future success.
Exactly, and that's where experience and expertise come into play. Investors and advisors use their knowledge and judgment to assess a company's value
Right.
and negotiate fair terms.
So it sounds like there's a lot of art
Yeah.
as well as science
Yeah.
involved in the valuation process.
There is.
And all of these elements, the funding strategies, the team dynamics, the exit strategies, it all highlights just how complex and dynamic the startup ecosystem really is.
It's a world of high stakes, rapid change,
Right.
and constant adaptation.
But it's also a world of incredible opportunity, right? Where innovative ideas can be transformed into successful businesses that create value and improve lives.
That's the exciting part.
Right.
Seeing those ideas take flight and make a real difference.
And sometimes part of that journey involves failure,
Mm.
right? Something that culturally might be challenging for Turkish entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So, what do the sources say about navigating that?
Well, the Swipeline podcast and LA Karabey offer some really interesting perspectives on this. They challenge that traditional view of failure as something to be avoided at all costs.
So they're advocating for a different perspective on failure.
Exactly. They argue that embracing failure is absolutely essential for learning and growth.
It's about seeing failure as a stepping stone, not a roadblock.
Yes, and Karabey stresses the need to destigmatize failure, to create a culture where entrepreneurs are encouraged to take risks and learn from their mistakes.
It's about shifting the mindset from fear of failure to seeing it as a valuable learning experience.
Exactly. He points out that many successful entrepreneurs have faced failures along the way, and it's often those failures that teach the most valuable lessons about resilience, adaptability, and determination.
So they've learned to turn those setbacks into fuel for future success.
Exactly. And the Swipeline hosts make a similar point. They highlight the importance of analyzing what went wrong and using those insights to make better decisions in the future.
So it's not just about bouncing back. It's about bouncing back smarter.
Yes,
Okay.
It's about extracting those valuable lessons from each experience, whether it's a success or a failure.
Right. They also talk about the importance of resilience.
Right. Yeah, that ability to bounce back from setbacks
Right.
and maintain a positive outlook. It's a crucial quality for long-term success in the startup world.
It's about having that mental fortitude to keep going, even when things get tough.
Exactly. And this whole conversation about failure is particularly relevant in the Turkish context.
Yeah.
With the cultural tendency to avoid admitting failure and prioritize saving face.
Right. We talked about that earlier. It can definitely create a barrier to innovation if entrepreneurs are afraid to take risks for fear of public embarrassment.
It can.
Yeah.
But as Karabey points out, embracing failure doesn't mean being reckless or irresponsible. It's about being willing to experiment, to learn from mistakes, and to constantly improve.
So it's about being bold and pushing those boundaries,
Yeah.
knowing that you might stumble along the way.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah. It's about fostering a culture where failure is seen as an opportunity for growth, not a sign of weakness.
This is such a crucial point, right?
Right.
It seems like a fundamental shift in mindset is needed, not just in Turkey, but in a lot of cultures.
I agree.
Right.
We need to embrace failure as part of the learning process.
Yeah.
And when we do, it unlocks so much potential for innovation and growth.
And speaking of growth, another area where we're seeing a lot of exciting developments is at the intersection of technology and sustainability.
Yeah, the whole field of green tech or clean tech is really gaining momentum.
For those who might not be familiar with the term, can you explain what green tech is all about?
Yeah, so green tech is all about developing and applying technologies that are environmentally friendly and contribute to sustainable development.
So it's about finding innovative solutions to environmental challenges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it encompasses such a wide range of industries from renewable energy and energy efficiency to sustainable agriculture and waste management.
It's about creating a future where we can meet our needs without compromising the planet for future generations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the sources you shared highlight the growing interest in green tech in Turkey.
Yeah.
So what are some of the driving forces behind this interest?
So there's a growing concern about climate change, of course,
All right.
but there are also government incentives and consumer demand for sustainable products and services.
So it's a combination of push and pull factors.
Exactly, and we're seeing new startups popping up all over Turkey that are developing innovative solutions in areas like solar energy,
Okay.
electric vehicles,
Right.
and sustainable packaging.
It sounds like there's a lot of entrepreneurial energy being directed towards solving these environmental challenges.
There is.
Yeah, and it's not just startups, right?
Yeah.
Established companies are also realizing the importance of incorporating sustainability into their operations.
Yeah.
So, what's driving that shift among more traditional companies?
Well, it's a combination of factors, really. They're seeing the potential for cost savings through
Yeah.
energy efficiency and
Correct.
waste reduction.
Yeah.
There's also the growing importance of brand reputation
Right.
as consumers increasingly favor companies that are environmentally responsible.
Yeah.
And of course, there are regulatory pressures as governments around the world implement policies to promote sustainability.
So it's a smart business move
Yeah.
as much as it is an ethical one.
Absolutely. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah. This deep dive has really highlighted the growing importance of sustainability in the world of business and entrepreneurship. It's a reminder that we need to find ways to balance economic growth with environmental protection and social responsibility.
I agree. It's about creating a future where businesses can thrive while also contributing to a healthier planet and a more equitable society.
And it's inspiring to see how Turkish entrepreneurs and investors are rising to meet this challenge, using their creativity and ingenuity to develop sustainable solutions that benefit both people and the planet.
Yeah, it's a great example of how innovation can be a force for good.
And speaking of well-being, let's not forget about the importance of mental health, especially for those in the demanding world of startups.
Yeah, it's an issue that's finally getting the attention it deserves. The Swipeline podcast episode touches on this, discussing the challenges of maintaining a healthy work-life balance, managing stress, and coping with the emotional roller coaster that is entrepreneurship.
It's a demanding lifestyle, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, what are some of their recommendations for maintaining mental well-being?
Well, they emphasize the importance of self-care, taking breaks, prioritizing sleep, and not being afraid to seek support from friends, family, and mental health professionals when needed.
It's about recognizing that your well-being is just as important as the success of your business.
Exactly. And they also highlight the need for a supportive work environment where founders feel comfortable talking about their struggles and seeking help when they need it.
It's about creating a culture where mental health is prioritized.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's a reminder that entrepreneurs are human beings, not just machines, and their well-being is essential for both their personal happiness and their professional success.
And we've talked about the importance of a supportive ecosystem.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that extends to mental health as well, right?
Yeah.
So now one of the challenges that comes up repeatedly in these sources is the need for greater access to capital for Turkish startups, right?
Yeah, that seems to be a common thread across different conversations.
Right. So what are some of the specific challenges they highlight?
Well, they point out that the Turkish venture capital and private equity market is still relatively small compared to more developed ecosystems like Silicon Valley or London.
So there's simply less capital available for startups.
Yes. And they also mentioned the difficulties of attracting international investment.
Right.
Particularly in a volatile economic environment. You know, investors are often looking for safer bets, and emerging markets can sometimes be seen as riskier.
It's understandable that investors would be more cautious in uncertain times.
It is, but despite these challenges, there are also signs of progress. The sources point to the emergence of new funds and initiatives that are specifically focused on supporting Turkish startups.
So the ecosystem is evolving, and more support is becoming available.
It is, and there's growing interest from international investors attracted by factors like Turkey's young and growing population, its strategic location, and its potential for growth.
So they're starting to see the potential in the Turkish market.
They are, and as the Turkish startup ecosystem continues to grow and attract attention, we can expect to see more capital flowing in, supporting the next generation of innovative companies.
It's about building that momentum and proving that Turkish startups are a worthy investment.
Absolutely. And this brings us to the role of government policies and regulations. It's an area where there's often debate about the right level of involvement.
We're finding that balance between government support and a hands-off approach.
Exactly. And the sources highlight the Turkish government's efforts to promote innovation with initiatives like the National Technology Move.
Right. We've already discussed that. So what about on the regulatory side? Are there any challenges there?
Well, the sources also talk about the challenges of navigating the complex regulatory landscape, particularly in areas like data, privacy, and intellectual property protection.
Those are definitely crucial areas for startups to get right.
They are. Yeah. And this highlights the importance of finding the right balance between government support and regulatory oversight.
Right. Too much regulation can stifle innovation, while too little regulation can lead to irresponsible behavior.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're fostering innovation while also protecting consumers and ensuring ethical conduct.
Sounds like a delicate balancing act.
It is. Wow. And it requires ongoing dialogue and collaboration between policymakers, industry leaders, host for host